Welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to show you how to make this double-sided Christmas ornament based off of the movie Elf, so it's inspired by it. And the design doesn't come with this bottom part right here. That I personalized it because my daughter's doing the Elf the musical. So this will be not on it, the green part, but you can personalize it, which I think makes it really cute. So like, for example, you could put a child's name there and you could flip it around if they're being naughty or nice. It's just a cute little Christmas ornament. So really easy to do. So stick tuned and I'll show you how it's done.
Love most about this design is how easy it is to personalize. So I've left extra space at the bottom for you to maybe add a name, maybe a phrase, or something else that's creative. For this project, my daughter is an Elf Junior, the musical, and so she's doing it with her studio, which is called Studio 5 Arts. And I'm making these ornaments as a way to help raise money for a fundraiser that they do for every show to raise money for scholarships. And so you'll notice that I have two files up here. I have hoop 1, which is the nice file, and I have a hoop 2, which is the naughty file. I'm going to actually start on this side, hoop 2, because there is less space down here. And to personalize this, I'm, of course, using Embroidery, and I'm going to click this A. And I'm in this circle right here, so it's text on a circle. And I'm using Design by Juju Tomorrow font, and it is 0.25 inches, so it's really small. And I'm just going to have cap lock on because I'm going to have it all in caps. And I'm just going to carefully type out her studio's name and hit enter. And I want it placed on the bottom. So I do have that checked. It is centered right now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring it down a little bit. Just about like right there. And I do need to curve it a little bit more. And I want to space out the letters so that there's not tight. And I also want to space out the words. And now I actually have to move it up or else it will stitch on my side stitches, which I definitely don't want. And I'm going to do a little more curvature, just like so. And I might zoom in a bit. Take your time on this step. I just want to make sure that it is, there we go. Just like that. I want to make sure that it's not catching any of these. Okay, so now that's what the naughty side look like, which is the hoop number 2. And I have to move it first. So I can't have it stitched last here because that would ruin the design. So I actually have to have this right after the word naughty. So I'm going to take the letters and move it right after the word naughty. So here's naughty, we'll stitch, then my personalization, and then it'll go into attaching the back. I'm going to click these letters. I'm going to hit Control C for copy, bring it over here, and here is my nice size. So the first hoop, I'm going to hit paste, and I'm not going to mess with the location. I'm going to keep it where it is, but I do have to change where it stitches out. And it needs to stitch last, or sorry, not last, excuse me. It needs to stitch after the word nice. So here's nice. Here is my personalization. And then the final stitch, which if you notice, there's these 4 orange dots. Those dots are to help you align the 2 pieces together so that when you do the final stitch, it stitches out cleanly and nicely. So I'm going to save this and bring it to my machine and show you how to stitch it step by step.
Let's talk materials real fast. I like to cut all my materials out all at once, and I cut many pieces out so that I can make many of these ornaments. It just makes the process a lot quicker. So for sure you will need 2 pieces of tearaway stabilizer and of course your 4x4 hoop. If you're making many of these and your machine can handle it, I suggest using a larger hoop where you can just copy and paste the designs in there and so you can get more done at once. I'm going to show you on the 4x4 hoop because this is probably the most popular, besides the 5x7 hoop, the 4x4 is probably the second most popular hoop size. I also need 2 pieces of low loft batting. So I have those, one for each of the hoopings. And then I also need some canvas fabric, and you can use other fabric. I just love the look of canvas on these ornaments, and so that's what I'm choosing to do. And also it's pretty thick structure, so it's wonderful. You could use cotton. You decide what is best for your project, but this is what I'm going to do because I'm kind of keeping a similar theme throughout this winter season. So let me show you how to do the first hoop.
Once you place your stabilizer in your hoop, the very first step is to run the placement stitch from the first embroidery file. Next, place your low loft batting over the placement stitches and run the tack down stitch to secure it in place. Carefully trim around the batting, getting as close as you can without cutting into the stitches. Place the hoop back into your machine and run the next stitch. This is the placement stitch for your top fabric piece, and I'm using canvas for my top fabric piece. Place your top fabric right side up over the placement stitches, then run the next stitch to tack it down. Now it's time to run the next stitches that will sketch out your design. Since this is the first hooping, it will stitch out the nice side of your ornament. You'll see create the elf hat, the 2 candy canes, and finally the word nice across the bottom. Personalization is completely optional on this design, and it will stitch after the word nice. I also forgot to tape or record the very last stitch of the file, which creates the 4 little dots for placement in a later step. If you like, you can stop your machine before that stitch runs, since those dots are only for alignment.
All right, the very first one is all done. So this is hoop number 1, and you'll see that there are 4 little dots. We will use those at the end to help us line up the 2 pieces. Let's begin hoop number 2.
I'm not going to go into detail here about hoop number 2 since it follows the exact same steps as hoop number 1. The only difference comes at the very end of this second file when we'll be attaching the back piece to finish off the ornament and do the final stitch, which is the satin stitch. Before we attach the ribbon and the back piece, it is important to stop and trim around the edges of your design. Carefully cut away any extra top fabrics so that your ornament has clean, neat edges.
It is time to attach the ribbon. So I have some ribbon right here, and I have some just fabric glue. And what I like to do is use the fabric glue to put the ribbon together so it doesn't unravel in the sewing process. Just go like that and hold it real quick. Just pinch it. Then I'm gonna flip this over just like so, and I'm gonna decide where I want to put it. I'm gonna put another piece of glue right here and just place it in the middle and push it down. We don't want the ribbon to move while we are stitching the final 2 stitches. So just put some tape at the top here, just like so, to hold it down in place. Grab your first piece from hoop number 1 and grab a pin. And using these as guides, stick your pin right through that one of those 4 little dots made on that very last stitch. And then take this one and try to line it up. It's gonna be a little more difficult. So you're gonna actually wanna look more for the front. It's kind of at the top right there. Oh my goodness, look how good that was. It's right on, sweet. I'm just gonna pull it through. Okay, I'm going to do the same thing for this one right here. Just trying to find it. Looks pretty good. Okay. I'm going to do it 2 more times. Okay, that looks really nice. All right, so then make sure everything is stuck in place. Everything is nice and tight. Careful so you don't prick your finger. And we're going to use tape to secure it in place so it doesn't move. That looks amazing. So then we just take these pins out because we obviously don't want to get those under our machine. And I'm gonna press it down one more time and take it to the machine and run the next stitch, which will tack both pieces together.
At this time, I suggest changing your thread to whatever you want that final satin stitch to be. And I would change the bobbin thread and the top thread so that they're matching, because you'll see it on both sides. So I've been just using this gold bobbin thread right here. And I will also change my upper thread to match it. The second to last stitch will sew the front and back of your ornament together. Be sure to keep an eye on your ribbon placement here. Make sure it doesn't slip under the needle, because you definitely don't want the top of your ribbon to fold over and get stitched down.
It's time to remove the tape to everything except for the top piece where it's holding the ribbon. And I'm going to cut around here, being careful not to cut that ribbon.
Now it's time to run the final stitch in file 2. This is the satin stitch that goes all the way around your ornament, giving it a nice finished edge and securing everything together.
We are all done with machine, and honestly, all we gotta do is remove the excess tape, take it out of the embroidery hoop, and just carefully tear around it. That's why tearaway staplers are so important. It just comes off just like that. Okay, so look how cute that is. All right, so this is the naughty side, and this is the nice side. And you can have it on either one. What a fun, cute project. Get ready for our Christmas season.
Thanks for watching. This design is free on my Patreon. Check the link below. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow for more creative fun.